Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at a bossing build for Hailey. She was released in Season 1 and quickly became a fan favorite, not only for the way she looks, but for her ability to put Colossus down almost instantly. So having said all that, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so there's actually a couple different weapons you can use for Hailey, but I personally prefer the Perforator. And the reason I like this is because it gives me 8 shots in Zenith, and with the payout mod equipped, you actually get an additional 3, which gives you 11 shots. So statistically, there is a conversation to be had about how some of the snipers can outperform the Perforator when it comes to raw damage. Now, the big thing they don't take into account is player error. And for me, it's all about how does it feel and not how does it absolutely perform if I play like a robot. So for myself, I prefer to use the Perforator, and that's the gun I suggest you to use. So for this gun, you will need the perfect 12% God roll when it comes to the bonus stats. On top of that, you will actually have to put mag perks on it. The way this works is it gives you the rounding in your favor when it comes to how many rounds that the Zenith will have when you pull it out. Outside of that, it really doesn't matter what other guns you have on, because the whole time you run this build, you are only going to use Zenith and you're going to use her number 2. Between those two things, most bosses should be dead right there on the spot. Now, when it comes to a Reactor, I actually personally like bonus attack versus Colossus and bonus crit hit damage, and that's the Reactor that I would say you need to try to go for with this. I have mine slotted for hand cannon. You can slot it for sniper if for whatever reason you want to change the build, but realistically this should take care of anything you need to make this build function properly. For components, we're going to run the Slayer set, and the main reason for this is for all the additional skill power that we get with the Slayer set. Fights are going to be over so quickly that it really doesn't matter, but you have to have this set on to get the additional damage. Alright, so when it comes to our modules on this character, we really want to go heavy in crit hit damage, crit hit rate, and just base power. With Hailey and the way she's going to be used here, we don't really need to worry too much about survivability, as ideally she's not ever really going to receive a hit because we should be downing bosses before they ever even have time to aim at her. So as you can see here, we have quite a few blue mods. These typically just give you more in one bucket instead of splitting it up in multiple buckets. So for Hailey, this is going to work perfectly fine. We're going to go with Singular Specialist and Chill Specialist here, as well as Skill Insight and Skill Concentration for our crit hit rate and crit hit damage. We are going to use both Frontlines and Emergency Measures to help get that skill crit hit damage up as high as we can. And we're going to use the Glacial mod as well as Spear and Shield just to help give us a little bit of extra skill power. And lastly, we are going to finish off with Dangerous Ambush. And the reason here is because we should be immobilizing most of these Colossus within the first hit. So this will give us just a bunch of extra free damage, and we like to have that because it helps us one phase most of the Colossus. Now basically this is a glass cannon build. Now we do have a few things that just work in our benefit, such as Spear and Shield that gives us a little bit of extra defense, but basically you want to try to not get hit when you're doing this. The whole point of this build is just to take things out as fast as possible, and that's what we're going to do in these next clips when I tell you how to actually play this character. Now there's a little bit of debate on how you should actually do this. I find that leading off with your 2 and then finishing up with your 4 is typically the best way to do it, because your 2 has a very long wind-up animation and it can be hard to get it off after your 4 because typically the Colossus is already cracked, and if you don't kill it with your 4, it will stand up and go right into the immune phase. So I would always lead off with your 2 and then your 4. Hey guys, it's Randy the editor. There's something that Judge forgot to tell you. If you don't have a maxed out Perforator, there are a few Colossus that will unfortunately not always break when you use your 2 on them. If you notice this is happening, don't worry about it. Just use your Zenith instead. You should have enough shots to kill them either way. I just wanted to let you know that you will see this happen in some of the footage, and that's basically what Judge had to do. Alright, back to the video. The other thing to keep in mind here is that you need to have your 3 running while you're doing this. Having your 3 running increases your critical hit rate, and that's going to help you hit those big numbers and take these Colossus out as fast as possible. So for a typical fight, we're going to run up and get set up. We're going to wait till we see the Colossus is ready to spawn in, and then we're going to go ahead and pop our 3. Now, you can wait until you know that the Colossus animation movement is done, but it will make it a little bit harder to hit their weak spot. If you get really good at timing, you can actually hit your 2 while they're still sort of in immunity frames, and as soon as they come out of iframes, your shot will hit them. This is entirely up to you and your playstyle, so do whatever you're most comfortable with. Now, everything we understand in the community is that the shoulders don't take as much damage as some of the other weak points. So while the shoulders are probably the easiest thing to hit, if you can aim for a smaller weak point, say in the chest or in the head, that you know you can hit and you hit that, you're just going to get rewarded with bonus damage for your accuracy. After you hit the weak point, typically the Colossus is going to go down to its knee. At that point, switch over to your 4 and use your first shot scoped in to make sure you're hitting the right spot. After that, just hip fire the rest of your 4s. That way you're sure you can get all of the shots out within the time frame. Most of the time you won't need all of these shots until you get to some of the chunkier Colossus later on, but this should be enough to help you knock out these Colossus and get that one phase that you're dying for.
It's up to me. One shot, one kill. Aiming at target. Field it, sir. Aiming at target. One shot, one kill. Shield down. It's up to me.
Alright guys, and that's it. That's basically all you need to know about this build and how to play it and the skill weave. It is pretty basic, and I would suggest not really taking this build out into the wild because you will be very squishy and it's not really the best for general mobbing. There are other builds and we will make a build guide for mobbing. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you use different mods or you switch up your playstyle a little bit, definitely let me know. I'd like to hear about it. Thanks for watching the video, and if you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing for more First Descendant content, as we will be covering this game for a while. If you want to see us live, head over to Twitch or just catch our YouTube live streams. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.